Hey everybody, Andy here with thedustbowlaudio.com, and I'd like to welcome you to the one-shot videos. This is a series of short, sharp and to the point video clip tutorials. Each one is going to cover one simple topic with the aim of helping you to make better recordings and better mixes. And today I'm going to start off with something that I know has people scratching their heads sometimes. It's the question of how do I get multiple channel outputs from, specifically in this case, EZdrummer into my DAW. Now, I'm using Cubase 7.5, but most of this is pretty well applicable to any DAW that you choose to use. So if you're in Pro Tools or Reaper or Studio One or, Sonar, Logic, you should have some flavour of most of what I'm talking about. There might be the odd little bit that's unique to my DAW or your DAW, but shouldn't be that much difference. Now, there's a lot of confusion about what happens here, and I think there's one very common reason, one little step that a lot of people seem to miss. So what I'm going to do is just to sort of show this easy. Sorry you're looking at a blank screen for a while there, but if I do this now, audio tracks were introduced into Cubase a few releases ago with the aim of making life easier when you're using virtual instruments, because it means that instead of having to have a separate instrument loaded into a rack and a separate MIDI track to drive it, you can combine the two together. So if I load EZdrummer as an instrument there and click on here, which simply opens up the interface, we should find that if I audition this kit, yep, so I can hear the different components of that, no problem. Now, what I've got at the moment is all coming out on one single channel, you see there, which is going straight to my stereo out bus. If I want to get my multiple channels out so that I can, if you record a kit in real life with microphones, you're typically going to have one or two channels for the kick, a snare top, snare bottom perhaps, a pair of overheads, close mics for the toms, the cymbals and so on. And you can duplicate that by going to the mixer, and you see these little numbers down here under each one of the channels. If you click on there, and you can assign any individual element of the kit to any particular channel that you want to, or you can let the software do the work for you. Select multi-channel, and you see you've got a common output format set up there. If I then go back to my drums and, yep, but the problem I've got now is that all the rest of this has gone quiet. So I've got a kick drum and nothing else. And again, if I look at my mixer, same as you would expect there. And the reason that that is happening is that although I've told the virtual instrument that I want to use multiple channels, my DAW doesn't know anything about that at all. And what I need to do is go to wherever your individual DAW does it, and I need to select the outputs for that instrument channel. So in this case, I've got all outputs blanked out. You see I've got highlighted the stereo main pair. So if I simply do that, so I select all of my channels, unmute that, thank you very much, and then I've got the rest of my kit back. In the project window, it looks exactly the same, and that's a quirk of having an instrument channel. It keeps your project window really simple. But if we now look at what we have in the mixer, you can see I've got all these channels which I can control individually. And just to make the point, go back to my mixer and select a simple stereo output, back to my kit, and everything's now coming back on that EZdrummer 2 bus. Back to my mixer and select multi, and I'm spread around the channels again. Right, that's one way of doing it. If I just get rid of that instrument track, because I know that not all DAWs have an instrument track in them, so if I just remove selected track there, just to keep life a little bit on the simple side, And then what I'm going to do is go to devices, VST instruments, and this is the other and sort of the old-fashioned way that you would do this, whereby I'm going to load a rack instrument. So I'm now loading the virtual instrument, and I need to point some MIDI separately and individually at that to trigger it. Do I want to create a MIDI track? Yes, I do. And let's just move that out of the way for a moment. So you see what I've got here now is I've got a VST Instruments folder with EZdrummer inside it. I've got a MIDI track here, and this is the instrument itself that's actually going to make the noise for me. So if I, again, point through to my instrument, and just to kind of make the point about the MIDI track there, let's just go for something really, really simple. I'll just drag some MIDI out onto it. You don't actually have to do this in EZdrummer 2. You can build your MIDI down at the bottom here. It's absolutely brilliant, but we'll cover that as a separate issue, I think. So again, just drag a couple of bits of MIDI over there with no particular concern about what it's going to sound like, just so that you can see that we've now got a MIDI track playing the instrument. And if we kick that off, you can hear your kit as you would think, and like we did before, you can hear all of that, and that's coming out on a, just as before, a stereo track there. Right, now to get our multi-instruments out here, exactly the same thing that we're going to do. We're going to go to the mixer in EZdrummer, we're going to select Multichannel. That's assigned our outputs for us, and exactly as we had before, that means we lose everything except what's assigned to the first channel, which is typically the kick outer. Now, if I find my instrument rack up here, this is where the slight difference comes in, and this might be more like you would see in a lot of other DAWs. If I now select my Activate outputs from here, so this is from the point where Cubase knows about the fact that we've got EZdrummer loaded, same drop down, same pop out, select all outputs. You see the difference when I've got it as a rack rather than a track instrument is that I now get all of these appearing in my project window. And if I go around here, see I've now got my multi-option kit back, pop back over to the mixer, just move you up there for a moment, and see, just as we had before, it behaves exactly the same way, except that you've got the output on your project window. And the advantage of having it like this, depending on what you want to do, is if you say want to put a compressor just on the kick drum, then you can do exactly that. You can come down and choose whatever you might want to put in place, just as you would with any audio recording. So just to recap, I think the thing that probably fools people, or that catches people out more than anything, is that you go to your instrument window, you go to the mixer, this is a bit people get, and you say, yep, give me my multi-channel outputs, and EZdrummer now knows it's gone multi-channel. But unless you tell the DAW that you've gone multi-channel as well, it's not going to know about that. And in Cubase you can do that from here, from the rack, or in the case of a instrumental track, you can do it from the inspector down at the side here. Okay, there you go. In a nutshell, how to set up multi-channels off of EZdrummer 2. This is in Cubase 7.5. These principles lie pretty much true for most virtual instruments and most DAWs. So I hope that's of some use to you. This is Andy with thedecibelaudio.com, and this is a one-shot tip for a better mix. I'll catch you next time out. Bye now.